Welcome all of you. Most of you know about SHARAN already, something. And I really hope that I'll be able to help you with something today. SHARAN stands for Sanctuary for Health and Reconnection to Animals and Nature. And that's because, animals in nature know how to be well and they know how to be relatively healthy for their entire life, but we don't. But we can learn from them too. So happy and healthy at 60 plus. And I want to share with you that I'm a senior citizen too. I'm 65. And so anyone here who is a senior citizen, I'm with you. And anyone who isn't yet, as Rachna said, we are all going to get there one day. So might as well be as healthy and happy as we possibly can. Now, what do you think are the concerns that people have after 60? Health, loneliness and boredom, long-term support. Like, what if we're alone and we don't have support? Many worry about their children's future too, isn't it? And purpose. I think purpose is very important because when we get older, we really start thinking more spiritually, like what is the reason for this birth and what do I have to accomplish in my lifetime? What do I want people to remember me for? And once we start thinking like this, it's really great because once we find our purpose, it's impossible not to be happy. So we'll talk a little bit more about that also today. And finance, as you all said, and also social issues. So let's talk about each one of these. One important one, and health is the main topic for today. So I'm going to get to health soon, but we'll talk a little bit about all the other things as well. So long-term support. As I told you, I'm a senior citizen. So obviously I've thought about this too, but I've seen some of the things that my patients have done. And I invite you to also write your solutions in the chat box so that you can share with everyone else. So I've seen moving close to children or living with children, getting an apartment right next door to their children can be a great support because then you're not dependent, but you have someone nearby. I've seen all siblings purchase one building and all move in to that building, maybe in their hometown or anywhere else. And I've seen this more often today than ever before now. And I really appreciate it because I've seen that my patients who've done this are so very happy. And then I saw that some people bought an apartment or a home in a retirement community. And now more than ever, there are so many retirement communities and I've visited some of them and you get 7-star ones and you get normal ones. And what I found is that they're all relatively moderately priced depending on where you are. They're all really beautiful. And what's nice is that there's a whole social organization. They usually have a clubhouse, people eat together. They have doctors there on call. So you always have support of a doctor if you need one. And they have, you don't have to look for helpers in the home because they always have someone who will come and clean your home or bring you food if you need it, and for a very moderate price. So, these are things that we can think of in advance. And I saw my friends, some of my friends, buying into retirement communities with their friends. And that's what's so important because, when one spouse dies, the other might be lonely. But if you already have a community of people who are similar aged and like-minded or friends from the past, how beautiful it can be. I also saw that many people were worried about their children's future. The most common that I've seen is about a child who's not married, but then it could be also children who don't have a job or financial issues. And I always say that see what is good in the situation because often we come with our own conditioning, which means that happiness is getting married, having children, having a good financial backing, and living according to the regular life. And today, more and more people are opting to live in a totally different way, because the way we have been conditioned to live is not going to last anymore. Because our conditioning is that the most important thing is money. And eventually, we are not happy, even if we have all the money in the world, right? So we have to look at, is your child happy? Do they have a job that they really love? It doesn't matter if they're not earning so much. Are they secure, etc.? And see what is good in the situation and be open to new solutions. Like, for example, a child may be undergoing a situation where they are not that compatible with their spouse. Maybe they had an arranged marriage, or maybe they had a love marriage but found out that it doesn't work. And they may be wanting a divorce but too afraid of what their parents would think. We really need to change that and say, what will make you happy? Because if they go through their whole life with a spouse they're not happy with, what will be the point? So sometimes it's good to have counseling in order to get new ideas. And the best counselor can also be your friends. If you discuss these issues with your friends, they may have similar issues, and you may come to some solutions where you stop worrying about the children's future and see what's good in the situation and be open to a new solution. And then financial worries. And often we have financial worries because we haven't planned for the future. And so one way could be really planning for the future. Like I said, maybe buying into a retirement home or something like that, so that your future is secure. And I've seen, such lovely retirement homes at such reasonable prices that I can't even tell you. There's so many people willing to do good for other people. And then plan a will. It's really important, though it's hard to think of death. It's really important to plan the will so that you don't have problems in the future. And you may even want to inform your children about the will so that they won't fight in the future, so that everybody knows what you're planning and may even offer you advice if you're willing to take it. And, I always say that health is wealth. Like, the biggest financial worry to me is what will happen if we're really seriously sick. Then we may need money for hospitalization. We may need money for a helper or support full time at home. We may need all kinds of funds. So if we can secure our health as soon as possible, and this is what SHARAN helps you do, because we believe that every person can be their own best doctor if we are willing to make lifestyle changes in accordance to nature's laws. Nature's laws. They can never be wrong. And if we're willing to make those lifestyle changes, then we will only get healthier and healthier. Like Rachna, she's only 40, but she's healthier than she's ever been before. And I'm 65, and I think I'm healthier than I've ever been before. And because I am always doing consultations, I make sure that at least once a year, I do all my reports so that I know that what I'm practicing and what I'm sharing with my patients is still always working, and it really does. And then social worries. Many people have social worries, and most of them are about what will others think. Now, think about it. Are you thinking about others all the time? No. We're all largely thinking only about what's happening in our lives, right? And when we hear about somebody's issues, we might think about it for some time, talk about it for some time, but it's not at the top of our mind for long. So nobody's thinking about what you're doing and whether it's right or wrong. So please always think about what will make you happy in the long term, and don't worry about what others will think. But think carefully through whatever you're doing. Now, worries about a purpose. I think this is really important because sometimes when our children leave home, suddenly there's a vacuum. And then when we retire, suddenly there's a vacuum. And if we don't have a purpose, then we might just be socializing or going on holidays or not really living our spiritual purpose and therefore not really happy. Like, have you seen that even film stars or people who are celebrities have committed suicide just because they're not happy? And that's because they haven't met their spiritual purpose. I was also like that, I think, because, when I was a regular doctor, I was a homeopath. And every day I'd go to the clinic and I'd hear problems and problems and problems. And after a while, I would need a holiday from their problems. But then when I started practicing with, what I do at Sharan, teaching people to become their own best doctors, and I would open my laptop in the morning and get emails. And the emails were just how much better people were. I stopped listening to problems and I started listening more to how much people were better. And I just started learning how to guide them to make these lifestyle changes in a better way than before. So understand your purpose as early as possible. I'm so sure that, like, leading Sharan or doing the work I do now is my purpose. And so I'm relatively happy every single day because I know that this is what I really want to do. Even though I don't have a lot of time to holiday or go out, I never watch movies, etc. Now, I want to introduce you to Fauja Singh in case you don't know him, and you might well know him, but he was nicknamed Turban Tornado because when he was 89, in order to overcome the grief of the death of his son, his wife had already died, but then his son died. And you can imagine that it's never pleasant to have your children die before you. And to overcome that grief, he started running. And he became the oldest man to complete a full marathon at the age of 100. At 100, imagine, he had never run before. And, now he was running and now he's 112 years old. Now, what's the beauty of sports, That when you're playing a sport, you can't be worrying because you have to be in the present moment. And when we're in the present moment, there's no worries. So, what can bring us to the present moment? It could be sports, it could be meditation, it could be yoga, it could be even work. Honestly, when you're busy at work, you can't think of all the problems in the world, right? So, that's why we really have to find a purpose, something to do that makes you happy. I also want to talk about Sudha Murthy. Imagine that just, a few days ago, she was nominated to the Rajya Sabha on International Women's Day, March 8th, right? Isn't that amazing? And she was awarded the Padma Shri for her social work. And she's also the author of books. And, she's just done this with a one, like putting all her passion into her life and work. I think that's so amazing. Now, we are going to talk more about health today and how you can be your own best doctors. And tell me, what kind of health concerns do we have? Can anyone share with me what kind of health concerns? And, I'm just looking at the chat box right now. So you can write in the chat box. And I really want to thank Luinder Kaur Chandok for saying that I'm 65 and fit, all thanks to Sharan and plant-based diet. So thank you for that. Okay, knee pain, dementia, stress, body pains, cancer possibility. Thank you for this. Diabetes, osteoporosis, low energy, stroke, lung health, menopause, social media. Okay, maybe, I mean, we're talking about health concerns, but yes, if you're on social media all the time, you can lose your health. And diabetes and weight management and low immunity and mental health, feeling depressed, useless. Yeah, mental health is a concern as well. And as someone has written, only worry is health and wealth. Yes, and health is wealth. So the only worry is health. Because if you're healthy, you don't need so much money. You know, we spend so much of our life earning the money that we pay back to doctors for our health. Instead, if we could just spend our life working on our health, we don't even have to work so much to earn so much money and put it aside. Disturbed sleep, Alzheimer's, hair loss and thinning, and psoriasis and autoimmune diseases, and all this Alzheimer's. So thank you for sharing all this in the chat box. And I'm going to share what I've written with you. So I wrote obesity and diabetes and high blood pressure and heart disease and cancers and kidney disease and autoimmune diseases and asthma and upper respiratory tract infections, joint pains, constipation, prostate enlargement, incontinence, loss of hearing, Alzheimer's, dementia, I should say loss of sight as well, but sight is more easily controlled thanks to, fabulous cataract operations and memory loss and Parkinson's, and whatever else you are thinking about. But I do want to say that most of the diseases here, and not the last three, or not the last four maybe, but most of the diseases here can be reversed and all of them can be prevented. And so it's time that we take our health into our own hands now. So when we go to the doctor gives us medicines. And have you noticed that medicines never cure lifestyle diseases? Like you may have diabetes and you are taking medicines and you never get cured. And you go back to the doctor and the doctor gives you another medicine. He says, I'm changing your medicine. And if you look closely at the medicine, it's the same medicine that you were taking before, plus something else, or a higher dose, or sometimes it's a different medicine. So basically, why do we never get cured when we go to the doctor is because doctors are treating symptoms. That means medicines can only remove symptoms on a day-to-day basis, which is why you have to take the medicine every day. And after a period of time, it no longer works. And then you have to take a higher medicine or something else. But we never do this. In fact, when I do a consultation, my goal is to remove medicines as soon as possible. And therefore, I'm looking at what is the cause of the problem and how can I remove the cause of the problem. Are you with me on this? Right? So if I'm looking at, let's take something like diabetes. When we go to the doctor says, cut down carbohydrates, cut down sugars, and take these medicines. And nobody gets well. Now, why are we not getting well by cutting down the sugars and the carbohydrates, even though we religiously do it? It's because sugar is not the cause of diabetes. High blood sugar is the result of diabetes. And the cause of diabetes is insulin resistance. And today we'll be talking a little on how to remove the cause of diabetes later. So let's just see what are the different causes of disease. And the number one cause is excess fat. We'll soon be talking about this. The second cause is excess proteins. And I know that many of us think that we should take more proteins, isn't it? But actually, do you know anybody who has protein deficiency? Sometimes people are diagnosed with protein deficiency. Sometimes if they have weakness, they think it is protein deficiency. But the truth is that protein deficiency only exists in starvation, none or some serious kidney diseases. So none of us have protein deficiency. We have diseases of protein excess, and we'll soon talk about that. Then lack of fiber due to refined foods, empty calories, just calories with no nutrients, because nutrients are the spare parts for healing. And chemicals, which are found in processed foods and all over the place. These are causes. Lack of exercise, stress, lack of rest, lack of fresh air, electromagnetic frequencies, mobile phones and mobile phone towers, and too much of them, and computers too, and TVs as well. And wrong attitude in life. So let's talk a little bit about this. Excess fat. Where is the excess fat? It could be on our body, and it comes in our body through oil, ghee, butter, fried foods, and all animal products. If you boil milk, you get fat on top. If you boil chicken, you get fat on top. If you boil meat or fish, you get fat on top. Animal products are full of fat. And when we consume fat in this form, it goes straight into our bloodstream. And it causes havoc because here's a test tube of blood that has been centrifuged after a low-fat meal, or actually the way our blood is collected after 10 hours of fasting, right? And you see the plasma on top, and you see the red blood cells at the bottom. And this is a good sample. But if you take a sample 4 hours after a standard diet, which could be the diet that many of us are consuming right now, then there's fat in the blood. Can you see the fat in the plasma on top? Now just imagine if you have a bottle of water, and actually I have this plastic bottle, it has a tiny bit of water in it, but you can see that the water is flowing very nicely. Imagine that this is the blood in our arteries. And we add a tablespoon of oil. Will the flow be good? No. If this was a bottle of oil, the flow will be good. If this was a bottle of water, the flow would be good. If this was an artery with blood, the flow should be good. But if we mix fat with the blood gets thicker and it doesn't flow through the arteries so well. And then, our heart has the job of pumping the blood all over the body to every single artery every single day. And only if it does this and every cell receives blood, are we really healthy. But if we make our blood thick and the thickened blood doesn't reach every single cell through these very fragile arteries, then we have problems. So here you can see an artery that's normal, but with the thickened blood, the thickened blood injures the artery walls, and over a period of time, those injuries are bandaged with cholesterol, and the artery gets narrower. And when the artery gets narrower, the heart has to pump harder, and that raises the blood pressure. And if the arteries are not supplying enough oxygen, if there's a clot, or if the arteries are not supplying enough oxygen to various places, we have problems. And wherever there's not enough oxygen, we get pain. For example, if you see, if the artery to the heart is blocked, we have heart attack or angina. If the artery to the brain is blocked, we have stroke. If the artery, this is a angiogram, and you can see this is actually a heart artery. You can see that the artery has been blocked, and so the blood flow isn't very clear here. But by making lifestyle changes in this period of time, 2.5 years, the artery has opened out again. That means the artery is like an ink pen where you have, the ink gets clotted and then nothing flows anymore. But if you put in thin blood, if you make sure that the blood is thin, the thin blood in the ink pen is water that we put in the ink pen to clean it out. And if we make sure that all our blood is thin all the time, and doctors do this with blood thinners, but we can do it by removing the fat. Remember, the fat is making the blood thick. So if we remove the fat, the blood becomes thin, the blood absorbs the fat that's lining the artery walls and clears it, and the arteries are open again, and we can do this. Now, the main cause of disease is cholesterol. And here you can see that only animals produce cholesterol. There is no cholesterol in plants, not even cashews and coconut. And there's much less fat in plants as compared to animals. Therefore, if we are on a plant-based diet with no animal products and no oil, and that's what we teach, how to cook totally delicious food on a plant-based diet, then you can really get healthy. Diabetes. The number one cause of diabetes is fat. Fat inside the muscle cell causes insulin resistance. And so you can reverse diabetes by taking the fat out of the diet. Cancers too are caused by fat in the arteries, because all our cells require oxygenation, but cancer cells can survive with less oxygen. And so it's been found that the more animal intake, and you can see that Netherlands, UK, Canada, Denmark, New Zealand, Ireland, Australia, Sweden, US, they have more animal products and more fat in their diet, and they have higher chances of getting, here this shows breast cancer, but it's true for any cancer. Whereas the countries which, like Japan or Ceylon, that consume less fat, less animal products, India also perhaps in the past, they don't have so much cancer. But today our cancer rates are soaring. So we need to cut out the fats by cutting out the oil, ghee, butter, and animal products. Now, excess proteins too. And where are the excess proteins? Again, animal products, right? When you think of protein, you think of meat and animal products, even dairy. Now, today we don't have a lot of people with protein deficiency, but we have a lot of people with diseases linked to protein excess. What are they? Osteoporosis and kidney disease. And we know very well that people with chronic kidney disease should not consume excess protein. And gout and acidity and cancers. We talked about cancers, and protein is the food for growth. Cancer is a growth. We have to be very careful with excess protein consumption because our cancer rates are soaring. And allergies and autoimmune diseases. That means that we can reverse diseases or at least control them and definitely prevent them if we make sure that we eat healthily. And you can change this at any age. Now, diseases linked to lack of fiber, the main disease due to lack of fiber is constipation. But when you have constipation, then you have your bowels clogged up and toxins absorbed, and this can cause all sorts of diseases. And empty calories just make you fat. Now, when we treat people, the first thing that we do is reduce or avoid medicines. And why do we do that? And that's because every medicine that we put in our body works temporarily, maybe one day or a few days, but it has to be broken down by the liver and excreted by the kidneys. So it's a load on the liver and a load on the kidneys, and it has its own side effects. And eventually, anyway, it never cures the problem. Therefore, we should be a little more cautious with medicines and popping pills. Medicines have, they usually control symptoms, but they have side effects. And as I said, they're a load on the liver and kidneys, and eventually they're chemicals. And today, we have a lot of issues regarding chemicals because chemicals are carcinogens and chemicals are also, they're hormone disruptors. And today we have so many people with hormonal problems. Let me name a few hormonal problems so you will be able to understand. Diabetes is a hormonal problem. Insulin is a hormone. Hypothyroidism, PCOD, menstrual problems, menopausal problems, prostate enlargement, breast cancer, prostate cancer, ovarian cancer. These are all hormonal problems that can be avoided by minimizing chemicals. Now, one thing that we can do to improve our health is exercise, yoga, and meditation. And at SHARAN, we constantly have a variety of free programs to help you get better. We have meditation programs and yoga programs and exercise programs. And right now, I want to stop my share and introduce you to Raji. Raji is one of our team members and she lives in Abu Dhabi. And she's a yoga enthusiast and she's been wanting to help seniors. So she's been doing these yoga classes for seniors regularly. Raji, do you want to tell them about what you're doing?
Thank you, Doctor. Hello, everyone. I'm Raji. During COVID-19, my parents and in-laws, I was really worried for their health. So I thought, let me, teach simple breathing techniques. So every week, I had a free session teaching yoga, simple basic things for my parents, in-laws, and extended family. And over the years, this group has really grown into a full-fledged community now. So every Friday morning, we have a yoga meditation session that is free of cost, specifically for helping senior citizens, but we have students from all age groups. So I've been doing this for 2 years. From my experience, what I understood is when we make our whole day as a yogic lifestyle, when we integrate yogic practices throughout the day, we can see a benefit. So according to yoga, our body is made of 5 layers. We call it Panchakosha. It is like a lotus, petals or onion peels, you can say. Each layer is, you open it up and you become one with the universe. So when we design practices for each of these layers and integrate into our daily life, we bring holistic health. So for example, during these sessions, for the physical layer, we do exercise, joint movements, talk about good nutrition, whole food plant-based nutrition. For the prana layer, the energy layer, we talk about pranayam. For the mind layer, we do meditation, om chanting. And for the intellect layer, we constantly learn something new. During our sessions, we bring in guest speakers to learn something new on yoga philosophy, health and everything. And for the final layer, the blissful layer, we do something every 3 months. We come up with a show, talent show, where each one of us can come and show our talent, be it singing, dancing. So this whole session, the advantage I saw is senior citizens have a forum to talk to each other, express their thoughts, and we are like a sort of friends. It's a satsang meeting of like-minded people every Friday. So I've been really blessed to meet so many nice people in this journey. And I would invite all of you to come and explore our Friday sessions. You can connect with me on Instagram or Facebook. My ID is Yoga with Raji Vivek. I'm also a SHARAN team facilitator for the past 2 years, conducting so many workshops. So, most of you I know from this group, I have met you before. So thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Doctor.
Raji, thank you, Raji, for sharing. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my screen share because I know that I'm not going to finish in time, but let's see what we can do. We should also get plenty of fresh air and sunshine, and it's good to go outdoors and get some exercise or even just a walk in the park and rest at the right time. One of the reasons that we aren't sleeping well is because we don't have enough exercise during the day and we don't go to bed on time. Please try to sleep early and start dimming the lights after dinner so that your body also knows that it's coming close to bedtime, and maybe have a nice shower before going to bed. And what I often tell people, because somebody wrote in the chat box that, too many worries at night when you're alone in bed and all the worries start. So what can we do for that? And here's a simple practice that you can do every day. You get a little notebook, keep it by your bed, and just every time before going to bed, write down five things that went well during the day. And before getting up out of bed in the morning, write down five things that you're truly grateful for. And the reason is that our mind tends to go to negative thoughts. So if we can just shift it and go to more positive thoughts, then we are going to get on the right track. So, like, positive before going to bed, positive before starting the day, right? Before going to bed, what went well during the day? And actually, we can write down five things that went well every day. It's surprising. And what we are grateful for, there's so much to be grateful for. So get into this practice. It's really easy. And if five things come to you too easily, you can always write 10. Okay? And find your spiritual purpose by asking yourself, what do I really want to do? What was my purpose for coming into this life? And what do I want to leave as a legacy? And I don't have time to talk enough about this, but all of these things I talk about in different talks, and you may see some of these talks on YouTube as well. I believe that we should practice minimalism because, I noticed that like when we go on a holiday and we walk into a hotel room and in the hotel room there's nothing, you feel relaxed. I had an experience. This is my house and it's in nature and it's very simple house, but very beautiful just because it's in nature. I have a little upstairs and downstairs and very small and only one cupboard, which means I don't collect a lot of things, but still I have things. So one day when I had to get my house painted, repaired, and so on, I moved into the next door house, which is very similar. And I had just one floor and it's actually a guest house. So it was like moving into a hotel room. And I just carried a little bag over to this house, like literally from here to here. And I felt relaxed and I was surprised. How did I get this feeling of relaxation just by moving into this room? And I realized that because the room has no clutter. My house doesn't really have much clutter, but still it has a lot more than the guest house. This is the guest house that I moved into, and this is my surroundings. And you can imagine that when you have surroundings like this in nature, even though my house is very small, my environment is so big and beautiful that I feel well. Now, and we can all do this, but we are often wanting to live in big houses in cities, right? And then reduce your electromagnetic frequency exposure, mobile phones and mobile phone towers and TVs and all of that. At least turn off the Wi-Fi at night and use switches instead of keeping remotes on all night can be helpful. And I believe that loving yourself and an attitude of gratitude, we already spoke about, but many of us don't love ourselves enough. Isn't that true? So and the reason we don't love ourselves is because we have grown up in a culture where people point out the things we do badly. Right from childhood, our parents have told us what was wrong with us. And sometimes they told us what was good with us too, but it doesn't go in our brain. We keep thinking about the bad things. And often we have the feeling that we have to look after everyone, we have to look after our responsibilities without thinking about how great we are and how amazing we are. So maybe we can spend a little bit of time just putting our arms around us and giving ourselves a big hug and looking into the mirror and telling ourselves how much we truly love ourselves. And you know what they say on the flight is put the mask on yourself before you help other people. Like you can't give love without loving yourself. So please make it a practice to love yourself. And we have practices for this also on our events section. And I'll tell you about one of them soon. Now, how are we going to reduce stress? And whenever we're stressed, we experience it through hormones. Like, for example, when we are stressed, we have high adrenaline or cortisol. And when we're happy, we have dopamine and serotonin high in our bloodstream. Now, we don't have a lot of time to talk about all the ways to reduce stress, but I told you that we recommend a plant-based diet, no animal products, especially because of the fat. But when we eat animal products, we are also eating their stress hormones. So when we eat, we are what we eat, and we are eating the feelings of the animals that are transmitted to us through the food, their insecurity, their feeling of forsakenness, their hopelessness and despair, and their fear. And I know that many of you here in this chat, in this meeting, have been following SHARAN. And I just want to have a show of hands, like you can just type yes in the chat box. How many of you have experienced through a plant-based diet that your stress levels have reduced? Please please type yes into the chat box. And I really thank you because every time you type in this yes, others get the confidence that they too will be a little bit more free of stress if they make these lifestyle changes. It's so important. Okay, thank you for sharing this. And if you haven't experienced that, it's time that you experience that, because when we eat animals, we are eating the products of factory farming, which is just horrendous. And you have to go there and see what's happening. And when you do, if you don't switch, you will be stressed. Right? Now, we recognize that medicines up to now have never cured us, right? Did the medicines that you took ever cure you? Not really, right? But the body always works to heal, always. You get a fracture, you put the bones together, the fracture heals. You get fever, don't do anything but rest and fasting, fever heals. So, most of the time, our body knows how to heal. But if we want to heal, we have to embrace change. We can't solve a problem by continuing the same lifestyle that caused it. We have to change. And I know that as we grow older, it's more difficult to change. We are set in our routines, which is why I conduct a 21-day health retreat. Because at the 21-day health retreat, we help you change your routine. It takes 21 days to change a habit, and then you have a routine. But you can do this at home as well, right? I just want to show you the one of my first earliest recorded patients. I had patients before this, but not all recorded. But this lady, she was 70 years old when I met her in 2005. And she was suffering from heart disease for 3 years. She came to me, to my consulting room, straight out of the ICU. Her student brought her to me, and she was a kindergarten school teacher. It was her student's mother who brought her to me. So she was a kindergarten school teacher at the age of 70. And you can imagine that when you're 70, I mean, handling children even at a regular age of a mother is difficult, but a whole classroom of children at 70, you can imagine. So anyway, she found it difficult to even get up in the morning. And the reason she came to me was she had one sheet of medications to take when she left the ICU. So I told her everything about diet, and I told her, I actually gave her a book by Dean Ornish, Reversing Heart Disease, and said to read it. And this is my interview with her 2.5 months after she came to me the first time and started following the diet. And I'm going to show you this video so that you can see what she says.
My weight has gone down because of this diet. And I walk every morning for 50 minutes and I exercise for 45 minutes. And I feel good. I feel very good. I have a very active program in school. I do everything. I was really a mess when I came to you. I was very tired, remember? The most important probably is that I stopped the tea and the coffee. I think that was giving me very false signals. I
So just remember, this was somebody who couldn't get out of bed in the morning, and now she was actually going for a walk at 4 in the morning, which even I don't do, and 45 minutes of gym in the evening. Imagine that. Now she stopped tea and coffee. And this is the recommendation to anyone who says they can't sleep. I've seen that when patients stop the coffee in the morning, they are sleeping well at night. So just stop tea and coffee. There are other reasons too, which we don't have time to go into.
I think because I'm a tremendous tea and coffee lover. Not tea so much as coffee. And I think that is a very important change in my life. I think I never used to eat and I never felt hungry. Now I have a much more normal life, really. And now I feel I'm really out of it and my medication is very little. So I don't think I have a problem. So it's like now I feel more relaxed about what I have to do. I think before I was more pressured about, especially when I used to get into like the last 3 or 4 years when I was very tired and I had to go to school and I had to do. It was a terrible strain on me. I mean, you can't believe what a strain it was. I couldn't even get out of the bed in the mornings.
So now this was 2005, and imagine I chased her down the Marina of Pondicherry to get this photo because she does a kind of jog every day, and I took this photograph. Imagine 2005 to September 2013. Someone who had heart disease and couldn't get out of bed. I had to chase her to get the photo. Now, I want to introduce you to Dr. Suman Govil. Dr. Suman Govil is also one of our facilitators, and she has been doing eco kaki and other things on SHARAN, and she's actually done our 21-day retreat. Actually, even Rachna has done our 21-day retreat. Rachna, who is our host today. Right, Rachna?
Yes, doctor. And it was like one of the best days, 21 days of my life. I really enjoyed there.
Okay, that's really lovely. And so, and why did you enjoy? Can you tell me what was good about it?
So everything was good, like the food, eating healthy, and we got to taste all cuisine, like whether it was Mexican, Chinese, and the food was amazing. And the place was beautiful. And among the nature, we had a swimming classes also, and it was beach, and everything was like amazing.
Wonderful. Okay, so, but I had Dr. Suman. Thank you, Rachna, for sharing that. And here we go. Dr. Suman, would you like to share?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Nandita, for this opportunity. So I am Dr. Suman Govil, a biotechnologist by profession. In fact, I retired in January 2018, and 3 weeks retreat in June 2018 was a retirement gift from my son. We didn't know anything about SHARAN, and we didn't find time to also search. And all through my life, I have had lots of problems. You know, I suffered from hyperthyroidism, then I had uh, uh, dysfunctional uterine bleeding, so I had to have a hysterectomy. My ovarian cysts were there, so ovaries were removed. And one problem was leading to another. Not that I was not taking treatment, but as you know, Dr. Nandita said, it was like a vicious circle. When ovaries were removed, I had a hormonal deficiency, so I was given alternate hormone therapy. That led to osteoporosis in severe to profound category. So I was popping all kinds of medicines all through my life, right from the age of 25 to 60. And fortunately, we went to the SHARAN retreat, and my life changed. In fact, within 2 days, our tests were done when we arrived there. And after 3 weeks, also tests were done again. And 3 weeks, as Dr. Nandita says, because habit formation is there. And, my life has changed for better. All my medication for hypertension and the calcium supplement and osteophos and Jonitech, which I was taking for osteoporosis, was stopped on the 3rd day. Of course, under medical supervision. The tests were done almost every day. And I lost about 4 kgs within 3 weeks. My husband also was a senior citizen. He was 5 years senior to me. He also lost 14 kgs. I lost about 17 kg within 1 year of following this SHARAN diet, which Dr. Nandita will tell you in detail. In fact, she will tell you all the theory, but when you go for this retreat, we do it in a practical way. And we also learn cooking. We also have yoga sessions. We have sleep nidra. We have meditation. We have swimming. We have trekking. We go on beach walks. When I went for a walk first day after when we joined, I could not walk one stretch, 1 kilometer. And within 21 days, I was able to walk 9 kilometers, go to Gokarna from Swaswara and back, which I thought was amazing at my age. Maybe I had never walked that much all my life. And now I do aerobics and I also do walks. And I feel very energetic. I don't miss out on anything except the weight and the size. So I reduced by 2 sizes and lost 17 kgs. And, being a scientist, I also got my tests done. Of course, Dr. Nandita also did the test. So my cholesterol level, I have the readings, within 21 days, from June 3 to June 21, my cholesterol came down from 232 milligrams per DL to 214 milligrams. and the safe range is less than 200. So you can imagine, and even my HDL levels came to normal range from 64 mg per dl to 49 mg per dl. And even the triglycerides levels came down from 131 mg per dl to 91 mg. And after doing 1 year of, whole food plant-based diet, I got my bone densitometry test done and I was pleasantly surprised. Honestly, all of us know that osteoporosis is a progressive disease. It deteriorates with age. In my case, I can share the bone density, my whole body density at the age of 47 was 0.860 gram per centimeter square, which increased when I was 61 plus to 1.013 gram per centimeter square. And also the spinal bone density. And I have all these reports if anybody would like to see. And I'm a living example. And I never felt so energetic, like I used to feel tired. But now at the age of 66 plus, I can go on from morning 6 o'clock to 9, 10, 11 whole day, and also much more peaceful and calmer. Maybe because, I was, of course, a vegetarian by birth, but at least I was taking milk and cheese and paneer and whatnot, ghee and butter and everything. And we were told, that this was like as bad as beef, which we realized, so that then and there we have given up. So my best 3 weeks, my best vacation, although I have stayed in 5-star, 7-star. So I can tell you by example that, you will never regret going to this retreat, and this will be your best vacation. I have also heard from my fellow teammates who have also done this. So all of us have witnessed, this magical transformative benefits which we read. So theory, of course, she will tell you, and you can do it at home, definitely, if you are very committed. But, if somebody is holding your hands and it is done under guidance, and you have medical supervision also, tests are done, so you know how much medicine to reduce, when to reduce. So you have no worries. And of course, I gave up tea, and I was taking maybe 8 to 10 cups of tea. And 3 days I suffered with lots of headache, but Dr. Nandita just told me, give me 3 days. And I have not regretted this. I don't feel like taking tea now. So my life has changed for better. So I request all of you, who can do this, and especially the senior citizens, because time is not a constraint, and often money is also not a constraint at that age, because your major responsibilities are over. So just go and witness this. And you will also maybe, thank me, like Reina told Captain that if you do this, you will thank me. So maybe you will thank me for, guiding you to this retreat. Thank you, Dr. Nandita, for this opportunity. And I also found my purpose. Then I did facilitator training, and I started doing some classes and, how to go chemical free. And so it has been a win-win situation for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Suman, for all you're doing. And both Dr. Suman and her husband improved in their health, which is really great. And I'm going to go back to my screen share. And I want to show you Dr. Suman when she came to our 21-day retreat. And this is her today. So you can see how much weight she has lost. Her husband also lost that weight. And of course, energy she told you about. So now, are you putting the wrong fuel in your body as well? Because when we get a car, what kind of fuel should we put in the car? The fuel which is on the instructor's manual, right? And we too have an instructor's manual in us, and that is called instinct. So if we have a cow, what will we feed it? Grass, because the cow's instinct says grass. And if we have a lion, we will feed it meat. But today we are told that we're omnivores, we can eat anything, and we are eating according to our culture, our society, and advertisements rather than what we have been designed to eat. But if we look at our instincts, and I'm just going to connect you to your instincts right now. If you were on a farm or an orchard and you see fruits and vegetables, what do you feel like doing? Tell me now in the chat box. And I don't even have to look. I know that you're going to say that pick and eat, right? But if you see a chicken walk by or a goat or a cow, does your mouth water? And probably not. Actually, never. Because we can't pounce on these animals, tear them apart, and eat them whole and raw. But if you see, whose mouth will salivate if they see a chicken? Maybe a dog, because a dog can pounce on the chicken, right? But if we see something like this, maybe we salivate. And that's because of our conditioning. So we have to take this conditioning out, get back to our instincts, and see what do we have to consume. And Dr. Suman was a vegetarian, so was I. But you know, milk is the food that every mammal in nature, remember SHARAN stands for Sanctuary for Health and Reconnection to Animals and Nature. And milk is the food that every mammal produces only for its young. And it's the same with cows. And instinctively, every baby knows it because every baby loves its mother's milk, but never appreciates when it's first given cow's milk, which is why the mother adds sugar and cocoa and runs around the baby, isn't it? Now, why is milk so bad for us? Remember that Dr. Suman had osteoporosis, which reversed after stopping dairy. Because dairy contains excess fat. Fat is the cause of most diseases. Dairy contains cholesterol as well. Dairy contains growth hormones that make cancers grow, and other hormones, sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone, which are the main cause of breast, prostate, and ovarian cancers. It also has a psychological effect that we already talked about regarding stress. Dairy contains urea. In India, they add urea to the milk to prevent coagulation. And Indian milk, now India has become the largest producer of milk in the world, and Indian milk is exported everywhere. And the cows are eating on plastic and garbage dumps. And this goes back to us through the milk we consume. And in order to keep the cows half alive, they're given antibiotics in every single meal. So when we consume milk, we're consuming their antibiotics as well, which is causing antibiotic resistance to us today. So the foods perfect for us are the foods that we would be instinctively attracted to. Fruits and vegetables, most important. And we are being manipulated by advertising because we keep being told what to eat, isn't it? One sec. And we have to realize that if we want to know what to eat and what not to eat, advertisement costs a lot. Therefore, I always tell people, make a list of everything that's advertised and don't eat that. Remember that nobody's going to advertise what's in your instincts. No one advertises carrots and cucumbers or apples and oranges. But they do advertise eggs and milk. So SHARAN has a 5-point plan: eat plants, eat whole foods. That means don't eat refined foods. Eat the part of the fruit or vegetable that a monkey would. Peel your bananas, but never peel your apples. Always eat as whole as possible. Don't eat refined foods. Common refined foods are oil and sugar and ghee, butter, margarine, white flour, maida, and rice, white rice. So always have the whole version instead and avoid processed foods and drinks. Now, this chart just shows how much nutrients are lost when we refine whole wheat to white flour. That means just take off the skin. You lose more than 50% of all the nutrients. It's the same with peeling vegetables and fruits. We need the fiber. The fiber cleans the body, makes the blood thin by holding on to the fat, reduces the sugar spikes, holds on to chemicals and toxins and throws them out, increases fullness, and so you don't need to eat so much, and helps to reduce weight like Dr. Suman did. And maximum nutrients are found in the skin. Therefore, we must never peel the skin because nutrients are the spare parts for healing. And whole foods are much more filling, like brown rice is more filling than white rice, if you've ever tried it. And we can have so much good food. These are just some photographs from our 21-day retreat. And then eat organic. Number 3, eat organic, because we are the only species that sprays our food with poison so that other animals don't eat it. And then we eat it. How can it be? We need high quality spare parts. We need to eat all the colors of the rainbow every day and as much raw as possible. And we don't need a lot of supplements, but we do need 2 important supplements, vitamin B12 and vitamin D, which should be checked and supplemented as required. Vitamin B12 is only made by bacteria. And because we're using pesticides, chlorine in the water, high hygienic lifestyle, alcohol consumption, and use of microwaves, not just the microwave oven, but mobile phones and all of that, we have deficiencies. Almost everyone has deficiencies. This must be checked. And deficiencies cause so many problems that we have to supplement if it is low. Okay, these are all the problems that it can cause, right from heart attacks to memory loss. And so vitamin B12 is very, very important. This does not mean you need to take B complex or multivitamins. And vitamin D is a product of the sun on our skin, direct exposure to the sun. But most of us are not sitting outdoors. If we are, we have clothes on us or sunscreen, or we're in polluted cities. And therefore, it's really important to have vitamin D, because it can cause, lack of vitamin D can cause osteoporosis, like Dr. Suman had, and muscle weakness, aches and pains, prostate, breast, ovarian, colon cancers, depression and schizophrenia, sleep disorders, diabetes, and decreased immunity. So please don't miss checking these 2 vitamins with every single blood test at least once a year and supplementing if necessary. Vitamin D is a hormone, so excess should never be taken. Please don't just take supplements, check and supplement as necessary. And if you take our consultations, we help you do that. So 5-point plan, plant-based, whole foods, organic, check and supplement vitamins B12 and vitamin D. Now, there's a sample meal plan that I would like to show you, and I've kind of run out of time, so I'm going to go really fast. Sorry. Really fast. You know, we start the day with a green smoothie and fruit. This is our breakfast. And we have the usual things that everyone has, like lunch is salad, chapati, sabzi, dal, but rice is supplemented with, replaced with whole rice. And we make sure to cook all this without oil. So please, whether you can come to our 21-day, everyone can join consultations and get well now. And we give all this in detail. Now, this is my father, and he's turning 90 on 14th of March. That's just 2 days from now. But this video was taken 2 years ago. Actually, we are all going to the US because my 2 brothers live there. So this is my father's maybe last trip to the US because he's 90. So we're all going in April. But I just want you to see.
I became a vegan at the age of 52. And now it's been 36 years that I've been vegan. My name is Surendra Shah. I'm 88 years old. And I've been brought up as a vegetarian. When people ask me how hard it is to be vegan, I said it is not at all hard when you're in India. That much I can say. Because you can always find vegan options anywhere you go, except perhaps in a train or a plane where there's fixed menu. And even in the plane, you can ask for a vegan meal. And not that it's good, but I live in Mumbai on Marine Drive. I've been brought up here as a kid. I've been here since 1939. If I wake up very early, then I do my work. Around, I may even do a puzzle, so Sudoku. I do a Sudoku samurai. But about between 4 and 4:30, I go for a morning walk. I walk for about 5 kilometers, roughly about 5-6 times in a week. That's quite regular. Come back, have shower, and I have 2 glasses of smoothies every day, followed by a little later, followed by fruits, and then another gap, and I have my breakfast. My main meal is a lunch. Before the meal, I have a bowl of salad, which I think is important to have greens. In evening, I have some fruits, but otherwise dinner, which is very light. When I made the transition, I did it at one go. I just gave up dairy on our Gujarati New Year's Day, and I haven't gone back from that. All I remember is about the cruelty to calf, and that is the reason I gave up, not because of health consideration. The health is just a bonus. I gave up eggs when I was in 1980. At the same time, I gave up use of leather and silk. I came to know about the slaughter of animals, but I didn't know at that time what was happening in the dairy industry. That I came to know in 1986, when I was 52. I was told that male calves, as soon as they're born, they're tied up and they're left to die just by starvation. I thought that was very cruel. I decided to give up dairy at that time. To eat vegan food, I never had a problem at home, for sure. The only change was I used to have chas and dahi every day. That went away. Milk, which I used to drink, that probably I gave up even earlier than that. The ghee on our chapatis went away. But other than that, there was not much of a change. I never had tea, coffee in my life, so that was never a problem. And my families, my mother, my sisters, they all accepted I'm vegan. That's it. Then nobody says why or you shouldn't or you need calcium or you need protein or anything, nothing. So it's never too late. You can change even if you're 80, but I would recommend you change as early as you can because then your health is remaining good before diseases start. And I've always enjoyed good health and I'm happy that I changed.
Okay, so I just want to let you know that this video. First of all, my father is not on any medication and hasn't been on any medication his entire life. He's only taking vitamin B12 and D. He doesn't have any health issues. And this video was made by Ritika Ramesh. Ritika was one of our first, when SHARAN started, she joined a workshop and she became a SHARAN volunteer immediately. Later, she got married, had children. She went out of SHARAN and now she's working for Generation V and she made this video for them. So that's something really nice. Going back to my screen share now. I just wanted to show you a short video of our Chief Justice of India.
Through it to the entire nation.
Practice Ayurveda and yoga in your daily life?
Yes, I do. I woke up this morning at 3:30 to do my yoga. And of course, I follow a vegan diet myself. For the last 5 months, I'm completely vegan and I'm continuing it. But I try and focus on a holistic pattern of life, which begins with what you eat, of course.
Isn't that amazing? And he's 64. So Support now, our support for you, or for keeping on track. SHARAN website has so much information, and I'm going to take you there right now. That's just because I know you've asked some questions that I want to point out to you. So if you go to SHARAN website, and I'm sure you've been there because you registered for this program, so you know how to go there. But we have 600, almost 600 recipes. Please don't forget to look at them, because we have such nice recipes that are so easy to make and so delicious to eat. And what if you could eat healthy and be healthy all the time, right? And I really appreciate those who cook for themselves, because then it's double easy. So look at our recipes. We also have a FAQ section so that you can get answers to all your questions. So for example, if you have questions on vitamin B12 or how much to take, or vitamin D, you can just go to these sections and ask all your questions and get some of the answers there, right? So it hasn't moved to this section yet, but here it has now. And then we have this section on events. Now we have lots of sections. I don't have time to show you all, but I do know that people asked about 21-day retreat, and I want to show you a few things. One is that we have a basic cooking class in Hindi and in English, which can teach you how techniques of cooking oil and dairy free. And then we have various cooking classes and other sessions, but we also have, like, for example, on 22nd March, there's this Embrace and Enhance, a self-love retreat, just 2 days of your time to reach out to the best love of your life, the only person who will be with you your entire life, right? And it's really worth it. And it's being conducted by Jaishri. And Jaishri got cancer 14 years ago. And she reversed it by taking charge of her mind and body. And she will tell you about this. And then we have other things, like there's a Defeat Diabetes live seminar in Chennai, which is, we just had a Defeat Diabetes retreat, but this is about that with a cooking class. And when you go to a live program, what's best is that you actually get a chance to taste our food. So if you're in Chennai, don't miss this. And then we have a 7-day fruit challenge. So if you want to get on the highway of health, then you join the fruit challenge and someone will hold your hand, and this will be done in a group, but it's on Zoom. So you'll be doing it at home in a group. And then we have affirmations and gratitude, a 30 days WhatsApp series, which is also very beneficial. And then we have this free program, the Ultimate Health Quiz, and this detox program. Also, all of these are interesting. Now, if you're in the US, you can look at these. These are some programs I'm doing in the US, but this is our 21-day health retreat. And I know that some people asked this question about 21-day health retreat, and I just want to open this link and show you, but why is the link not opening now? Are you hearing me clearly? Is anyone hearing me?
Yes,
Okay. Okay, so just, I don't know why this is not opening now. So it's not opening now, but I'll tell you about it. Gosh, okay, it's slow. It's just slow. It'll open. I'll tell you about it. We have the retreat in a beautiful resort that we rent completely for the retreat. It's south of Goa in Gokarna, and we have only 35 maximum number of people there. We have only 24 rooms, 26 acres, beautiful cottages, and you can read more about it here. And you can also see, the prices here. And you can also see, and I know it says 3 lakhs and 4 lakhs, but truly that's the price of a private hospital room for 3 or 4 days, which you're never going to use if you come to the 21-day retreat. And what else? Oh yeah, you can see many testimonials of past participants here. Okay, so that's for the 21-day retreat. And now I'm going to go back to our screen share. Do look at other things on our website. So we have other things to support you as well. Like, for example, if you like this talk, we have a YouTube channel with our old talks there, and we have publications and also free publications for download. And we also have a WhatsApp broadcast list and WhatsApp groups to help you. So don't forget to subscribe to them. And of course, if you're into Facebook and Instagram and social media, then we have those. I told you about the events, and these are the publications that we have for free download. And you can also buy them, and they're all only 300 rupees each. Same with these books. And of course, I wish you perfect health. And SHARAN is committed to building a culture of health. And we have plenty of resources, but I'm giving you my email address so that if you need and if I can help, you can contact me.